Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another of our Business Connected workshops. My name is Carla, and I will be your host for today's session. Today's session is all about how to enhance your digital marketing strategy with free tools. And I'm joined today by Anna Morris. As everyone is joining today's session, I wanted to let everyone know more about the Business Connected program, which this session is a part of. Enterprise Nation have partnered with Vodafone Business to equip 800,000 small businesses over the next 3 years with different digital skills. The program is also supported by digital partners Samsung and Sage. For those who are listening us live, you can visit Business Connected to check out our e-learning, lunch and learn, and other workshops as this one. And I will be putting the link to the program into the chat box. But leading on today's session is Anna Morris. She has over 10 years of experience in the marketing industry. She has worked in various roles, including magazine editor, content marketer, outreach manager, and managing director. And she's the founder of Quibble, a digital marketing agency that supports businesses of all sizes to improve engagement, increase leads, and conversions. And she's as well a business connector advisor. She's going to do a presentation for about 25 minutes, and then we will answer some of your questions. We like to make these webinars interactive, so please do post any questions or comments in the chat box. Feel free to introduce yourself on the chat, who you are, and what your business is. And do not forget, we will send a recording afterwards. That's all for now, and I will leave Anna the virtual stage.
Hi, everybody. So I've got a lot to get through today, so hopefully we will get there. I'm hopefully not going to take up too much of your time, but hopefully give you lots of valuable advice as well. So I was going to start off by introducing myself and obviously talk about the key takeaways at which we've got there. But yeah, great introduction to me, so I don't really need to do that. So as you can see there, we have worked with various different types of businesses, small, medium, large, and these tools can be used for whatever size business you're in at the moment. So just to begin with, some free tools that you'll probably be aware of already are Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Google Tag Manager, and Google Firebase. And there's so many more in terms of the free tools that are available via Google. Now, if you haven't implemented any of these yet or utilized any of these tools, highly recommend it. One thing to note with Google Analytics is that the current Google Analytics is going to be made obsolete very, very soon. So it won't be updated. It's actually moving to Analytics 4. They have extended the deadline. It was going to be around kind of June, July next year, where they were kind of going to do the switch over. But they have, as I say, extended that. But I highly recommend implementing Analytics 4 as soon as possible, just so you've got that comparative data. So once they switch Analytics off, or the current Analytics off, your data will still be available, but you won't be able to have that comparison. So month on month, year on year, for example. So the earlier you can get Analytics 4 set up, obviously you'll have more data to go back on. You can still, as I say, access that data, but it'll just be a bit more fiddly than anything to go back to it. You've also got Google Search Console. So Google Search Console, it can give you information in terms of keywords that you're currently ranking for and what you can actually improve on. It also will give you details of any 404 and error pages on your website that you can then fix. So 404 pages, if you are getting any errors, if there's pages that aren't working on your website, it will hinder your ability to be found in the search results. So Google will notice that and realise that actually the quality of that site isn't as good because those pages are missing. You also have Tag Manager, Firebase. Firebase is one of those ones where is more for those that have apps. If you want to do app tracking, so analytics on that, great if you're doing paid ads as well, because you'll be able to track kind of who's coming from where and how they're using that application. But I highly recommend getting those implemented on your website and giving those a try. Other tools that are really, really good that can actually give you actionable data. One is social media. You know, we're all using social media. Each one of those social media channels has analytics, so you can find out, you know, who's your traffic, you know, what are the types of people that are actually engaging with your content. Are they male? Are they female? Are they of a certain age? Is it a certain time as well where they're actually engaging with your post and your content? Hootsuite. So that's just one tool you can use for scheduling your social posts. Great for like saving lots and lots of time because you can schedule a lot of posts at once. But it also gives you analytics as well, and it's all in one place. So again, great time saver, really, really useful. Another one there is Linktree. And you also have on the side there a little screenshot of what Linktree looks like. You can customize that. So essentially you can put different links to content or quote forms or whatever it is that you want to kind of push your audience through to and engage with. It will give you the details. So if you're, for example, on Instagram, you can only include one link at the top there of your profile. Now, if you use to include the Linktree link, you can actually then take people through to that page where it says, okay, let's go through to the website, maybe go through to Facebook, or maybe go through to a quote form, for example. And you can change them as many times as you want. The free account is absolutely amazing. And as I say, it will also tell you what is the most popular. So if you're creating lots of content, sharing content on there, it will tell you what people are actually wanting to read about. And you also have page speed insights there. So if you just literally type in page speed insights into Google, it's classed as a dev tool, web dev tool, but it will give you lots of information in terms of how your website is performing. Now that's on desktop or on mobile. So here's a screenshot of what it would look like if you put your website in the tool. Again, just copy and paste your URL in. And you can look at desktop or you can look at mobile, as you can see at the top there. And it will give you your performance rating in various different formats there. So you've got your performance of the actual website. So that will be like load speed. So it might be that large images or videos are affecting the site. You also have accessibility, and that comes down to, again, various different elements. And that's things like, is the content readable? Is it accessible for people that maybe can't hear or maybe can't see? All sorts of different things like that. You also have SEO as well, and it will tell you whether your site is passing these elements, and it will give you an overall score for the performance. This is great, and it will give you a list of things that you can actually work on to improve the website. Website speed is a direct ranking factor. When I say ranking factor, that essentially means where your website is going to be found in those search results. So for example, if we're looking for a website for ethical coffee or independent coffee maker, we want to obviously be found in search for those results. If your site is really, really slow, it's going to be probably page 2, page 3, it could be further on. The site speed, if it's really, really fast, it's going to be better than the competitors. You can also put your competitors in there and see how they're doing. Really good idea to have a look at how they're performing as well. As well as page speed insights, which is free, and obviously once you've made any changes, do go back and check your website. There's also Ask and Answer the Public. Now, also Ask and Answer the Public are great tools for creating content and finding out what it is that actually your audience want you to be talking about. That can be on social media, it can also be on your blog content as well, so any articles that you're writing. So to give you an idea of what they look like, I've got a screenshot here and I'll put in ethical coffee. And as you can see here, it's then kind of gone off and thought, okay, well, what else are people looking for that, are searching for that particular key term? So the ethical coffee. And it's, what is ethical coffee? Is Costa Coffee ethical? And then you've got various other terms there as well. So they're different things that you could be talking about on social, but would also be great if you're putting them into your blog content, using it as either a title. It could be just part of a blog. It could also be that you create FAQs, so facts and questions on your website. You may, if as a first port of call, want to create just one particular page with your FAQs. But what we would highly recommend is actually breaking down FAQs and putting them on relevant pages. So if you've got various different products or services, include FAQs that are relevant to those products and services on those individual pages. It'll allow Google to rank them much higher. If you've got a web developer, what we'd also recommend is adding schema markup. So if you mention schema markup to them, they would be able to implement that. And that's where you get those, when you put in any kind of search term in Google, you often get an ad at the top. Then you might get a couple of organic listings. And then below that, you'd often get those questions where you click on them and then it'll give you the answer and a link through to where that answer has come from. And that's essentially where the schema markup helps you kind of get in those particular results. And they get a lot of traffic. So it is definitely worth having a look at, and as I say, speaking to your web developer about as well. That's also asked. You can put in various terms in here, and you get free terms that you can add in here. So do be smart. I think you get about 3, and then it renews after a period of time, about a month. But you can do that on a regular basis, and it will give you these kind of topic clusters, which is something you'll start hearing people talking about a lot in the digital space. And you also, as I mentioned, have answer the public. So very similar. You add in key terms. I put in the same term here, ethical coffee, and it will give you a variety of terms that you can then target. So the first one that I've put in is a question based. So it's kind of got the when, the where, the how. And that's given us so much in terms of content of what we can actually be writing about, what I can be including on a website if I was doing anything to do with ethical coffee or a coffee brand. And then you also get further clusters as well of other questions that people are asking. In total, when I literally looked for ethical coffee, it came up with almost 300 searches. So there's a lot to go at. One thing I would just say is obviously bear in mind how much time and resource you've got. But yeah, 300 results for a free tool, which took about 2 minutes to add in. Was pretty good. So a couple of other tools that we've got here are HubSpot and Lead Feeder. So there's a couple here that they do have free access, and with HubSpot in particular, so we use this. There's an element on there where you go to prospects, and you can actually, if you connect it to your website, look and find out who's been on your website. Now, it's not an exact science, it doesn't always get it right. Obviously, especially nowadays with people working remotely, again, it makes it a lot more difficult to find out who these people are, where they work for, but it can give you some really, really good data. So if I was to, I check this every day, but if I have a look at the list of people that have been on my website, I can then go to LinkedIn, find the people, find the company, and actually connect with those people from that company in the hope that we might be able to partner somehow. It might be that they're looking for my services, or they might be a competitor. So either way, I can have a look and find out what it is that they potentially want. Another tool that we have here is SEMrush. Now, if you're in marketing, if you've been in agency, this will be one that you will have heard of. SEMrush has a really, really good free account. It gives you so much information, probably too much information initially, but you can put in your website. You then gives you your organic growth over a period of time, which if you've got Google Analytics, you'll know, your organic growth and how that's looking anyway. But it'll give you an overview. It'll then break it down into locations, so whether it's UK, US, if it's somewhere in the EU or further afield. But it also gives you information like the key terms that you are currently ranking for, and also what the intent is of those keywords. And when I say intent, it means, is it informational? So ethical coffee is very, very broad. Now, if I was searching for that, am I looking for information or am I looking to purchase? Probably at that point, information. So it'll tell me that key term is informational. Now, if I was looking for another term, buying ethical coffee, or where can I buy ethical coffee, then it would say that it's a commercial term. So it'll break it down in 4 different categories, but at least then you can start to think, okay, well, where do I currently stand in terms of the keywords that I'm ranking for in Google in the search results? And what do I need to target? If I need, if there's certain goals that you've got where it's to increase your turnover, maybe it's that you want to increase traffic first and do more of a soft sell, you can look at, okay, well, where do I currently stand? And where do I actually need to improve? And what's probably the quickest wins as well? So it will also give you information in terms of the search volume. When I say search volume, that means the amount of monthly searches that particular term gets every single month. As well as all of that, it gives you competitive information. It also gives you backlink information. And backlinks is, again, really, really important, but it will tell you who's currently linking. So another website is linking to your website. Now, for this particular piece of information, what I would recommend doing is actually putting in the URL of your competitor at the top. So again, it will give you all of the information in terms of where they're currently ranking, but it will give you their backlink information. So at that point, you can think, okay, well, are any of those relevant to me? Is it that they've actually been featured as part of an article? Can I write an article for that website or approach them with a quote or a bit of information, a bit of data about that industry for the potential to get featured and have that link back? But it'll give you a whole list of information that you can then go away and think, okay, yeah, I can go through this and target these people. And I say backlinks because backlinks are a very important ranking factor still. The quality of your content is still very important, but links are very important too. But it's good quality. It's better to have a few really good quality links than it is lots of just general links. So if you're getting emails saying, I can get you to the top of number one, I'm going to sell you lots of links, don't do it. Look for those quality websites that you're already probably really familiar with within your industry. So when do you go from paid or from free to paid? Well, first off, I'd always recommend trying before you buy. You don't want to look at a tool and think, oh my gosh, I really don't understand this. Even if you've had a tutorial, you've looked at YouTube and you still don't get it, or it's just too much information for you to kind of digest. Then obviously that's not necessarily the right tool for you. It may also be that you don't have the resource as well. So having the right resource available to utilize that tool is very, very important. So something to bear in mind, as an agency, we use all of these tools. We have a lot of paid versions of these tools, and we spend probably 1,000 more each month just on tools. But we're using them for a number of clients, and they also have access to that information. So we have clients that have in the past, they've had a paid access account for SEMrush. They got rid of it because they knew that we could just download the data and give them the information that they wanted. So yeah, always think about, one, the resource. Have you got the people? Have you got the buy-in as well? So the adoption of any kind of new technology can be really, really difficult. It can be slow, it can be painful. So maybe do one at a time. And then obviously, yeah, think about, is there another option? Can the agency that you're working with or the marketing people you're working with get access or give you access to the information that you need rather than you paying for it? So try and keep your costs as low as possible. And some other really good tools. So before I go on about how we can create a plan from this, other great tools that can help with your digital marketing strategy, your plan and your activity are image tools. So you should, or I would say most people are fairly familiar with Canva. In recent days, is actually launched an AI image tool. So when I say AI, that's artificial intelligence. You can literally type in some key terms and it will give you an image. And that's exactly what I've done on the right here. So for that main image and the one to the top, I literally was looking for, or I typed in elephant candle in minimalist home. And that's what it came up with. The next one I put elephant on the London tube, and then I also put ethical coffee in sustainable packaging with elephants. Went for the elephant theme, but it will come up with various different pictures. It is in the early stages, so it's not always going to get it right. I would also say with hands, for some reason it really struggles with hands, but it's in beta, so it's very, very new but very exciting and something to be looking at. There's also GIMP, so that's an image manipulation tool, and that's basically like Photoshop, but it's free. Really, really good tool. Lots of tutorials online on how to use that. There's Pixlr, Figma, Unsplash picture chart there as well, and Midjourney actually is a really another interesting AI image tool. Similar to the Canva AI, except it's probably going a lot longer. So it's had a lot more in terms of the image and the engagement from other users. So it's learnt to actually create really, really good quality images. So Midjourney, if you, again, have a little type into Google. It will ask you to join the channel on Discord, which is very similar to like Slack, or if you have Microsoft Teams, very similar to that. So it's Discord. And again, you type in your term. It might be that you're looking for a new logo, whatever it is, and it will come up with a number of images that you can then select from. Really, really good tool just to even have a play with. Other tools that you can have a look at are Copyscape and Grammarly. So that's for the quality of the content and checking that the quality of your content is really good. As I mentioned before, the quality of your content is a ranking factor. So Google knows if you don't know how to spell, if your punctuation is wrong, it's just not, you've got a sentence that's a paragraph long. So do have a look, make sure that your copy is original and that it's also spelling free and it's really good quality, bite-sized chunks, so that people are actually digesting that, because Google will be taking note of all of those elements. Another one is BuzzSumo. You've also got Harrow there, which is great if you're looking for PR opportunities, and Drift as well. So Drift you can add to your website, and it's the little chat box at the bottom, which you'll probably see on quite a lot of websites. Really good when you've already got somebody on your website. It will give you or allow you to engage with them right there and then. So yeah, some good tools to have a play with. And all these slides, don't worry about taking notes. These slides will be available after the talk as well. So how do you create a plan using the free tools that we've mentioned? So before you start any kind of journey and think, okay, well, what are we doing? It's always a good time to think, okay, reflect, what are your actual goals? Do you want more conversions, and how many conversions do you want? What is the amount of revenue that you want from sales? How many inquiries do you want? What kind of traffic do you want? Set all of that up initially first. And then you want to understand your current position. So understanding your current position, you want to be looking at analytics, you want to be looking at your search console and SEMrush. So SEMrush, I'll say, you can have a look at where you currently stand. Then you can also have a look at where you stand against your competitors. So do include that information as well. Be sure to have a look at where they're standing, how many keywords they're ranking for versus how many you're ranking for as well. So you can have a look at the current keyword rankings that you're ranking for. As I say, you can have a look at your competitors. You can also have a look at the number of backlinks they have versus how many you have. Customer reviews as well. So have a think about how can you implement a review process if you don't currently have reviews. Reviews, again, are a ranking factor. And if you can encourage people to include information like your keywords in terms of services or products, maybe location, if you're in a particular area that you want to kind of target people, then obviously try and encourage that as well. But having more reviews on Google or Trustpilot as well are really good places to help support your SEO. And work on your website fixes. So as I mentioned, you can have a look at Search Console and you can find out, are there any 404 pages that you need to fix? Page speed, is your website too slow? Are your images and your videos too big? They are. There's plenty of free tools, especially if you're using WordPress. There's various plugins that you can use to convert your images to SVGs that will not be as heavy or as taxing on your website as PNGs, for example. And the same for videos. So again, there's a plugin that you can use to convert those into the most friendly or website friendly files, but you can also go on to Google, look for a free video converter, and it will reduce that size for you as well. I did it earlier this week, for example. And then, once you've got those fixes, you've improved the site speed, you've reduced some of those image sizes, and there is some other elements that you can probably look at as well. That should have a really positive impact on your SEO. And I say then you can start thinking about, okay, well, we've got all this information, how do we implement it? So put together a manageable content and marketing calendar. So this should be a variety of content from your social, emails, good for reviews, even your social media, encourage and send that link to get a review. Also new page creation, as I mentioned, the FAQs as well. So if you can get some FAQs on each of the pages that they're going to be relevant for, that'd be amazing. And any new blogs and in-depth guides. You can also create various interactive content. things like polls or surveys or something that people have to engage with. It's really, really good in terms of, Google will see that people are spending longer on that particular page, on that website, and they're more likely to improve your search results. So when you're putting together that content and marketing calendar, make sure it's manageable for you. And when I say manageable, don't put a plan together where you're like, I'm going to create a blog a week or 3 blogs a week and loads of social content, because it probably won't be feasible unless you've got a decent sized team behind you to help implement that. So doing something little and often is going to be better than nothing, but also better than, setting yourself up essentially to fail. So little and often, and then grow it. And as you start improving and you start seeing the results that you're getting, you start seeing your analytics, your organic traffic is going up, your keywords that you're ranking for are improving. And again, you can be looking on SEMrush intermittently, I'd say probably quarterly. And you can see, as say, those improvements. Hopefully then, your bottom line is starting to improve as well. You're getting more sales, you're getting more inquiries that actually you can then warrant getting somebody in to help you. And then you think, okay, well, we've got this bank of content that we need to write, and then they can start kind of speeding that up. But always monitor it, have a look and say, don't do something and think, okay, well, I don't know if it worked or not. Check your analytics, check your social analytics, if that's one of your key areas that you're wanting to grow on. But organic on Google Analytics is one of the key things that you need to be looking at. And I say those search results, those keywords are going to have that positive impact as well. So that was a lot. I feel like I've just kind of gone blah. But hopefully that's a lot of tools that you can all go away and have a play with, and start thinking about, how can you use them? Maybe you've been familiar with them in the past. Maybe you need to just go back and review them again. But yeah, hopefully that's given you a bit of food for thought, so to speak. And hopefully I've not just kind of blown your mind just before lunch. But if you have any questions, this is the time where we'll go through that. Also, I'd to say, connect with me. Hopefully I can share lots of other information that you can use, and feel free to get in touch, either email me or through Enterprise Nation as well. But questions?
Thanks, Anna. Thanks for delivering the session. It was great to hear that there are all these free tools available for our audience. And we have some questions.
Okay.
I have one question from Max. What did you say to convert images to rather than PNGs?
So PNGs, they can be really, really heavy on a website. So a JPEG would be better, but you can use SVGs. So if you use a tool like Canva, for example, you can already do that. You can download them as an SVG. But there's also other tools. So using GIMP, that can help convert them. And there's also plugins as well. So if you're on WordPress, for example, look for an image converter, and it will do it automatically. So you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, if you've got, some people have thousands of products, you don't want to have to go back and think, oh my God, I've got to convert all of these. This is going to take hours. Get a plugin, it will automatically do it for you.
Perfect. And then we have another question from Emily. Could you explain a little bit more how the free tools for PR work?
Yeah, so there's loads of tools for PR. I mean, Twitter, have a look on Twitter for PR request and journo request for one. They're different hashtags that people use, but HARO, or HARO as we call it, is help a reporter out. Now you can sign up for free, and it will give you daily emails of people looking for content, and that might be quotes or it might be articles. There's loads and loads of people looking for content, and it's a really good place to start. And it just gives you that prompt. And I'll say then look at people's backlinks as well, because there's probably a lot of article related backlinks that people are getting. And if that's tied to another website, a writer, get in touch with them, whether that's on LinkedIn or Twitter, just reach out.
That's great. And just to wrap up, if you have any top tips for our audience when they are using free tools for their marketing.
Oh God, any top tips? Don't get too distracted. It's so easy to start having a play with these, and just the hours will just go. Especially, I mean, for example, that Mid-Journey tool and Canva, the AI image stuff, it's amazing, but you can get lost in it, and you can get lost in the data and the information. So I think have your goals in mind, know what it is that you're looking for, be specific. So if you want to have a play on those tools, great, but put in particular terms that are going to be actually relevant for you. I started looking for neon cats and I say elephants and all these other random things, and it's amazing. It's really good fun, but you can lose a lot of time.
Perfect. That were really great tips. And that is all we have time for today's session. A massive thank you to our lovely audience for joining us today, and to Anna for taking the time out to chat with us. Please connect with her on Enterprise Nation if you need more support for your business. And do not forget to visit Business Connected to check out our other resources. We do hope to see you in another Business Connected workshop, and let us know how we did today. We take your feedback very seriously, and we want to make sure that these events are productive for everyone. Now we leave everyone to have the rest of their morning, and thank you, Anna, again for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.